There is no amount of hand washing, masking, or social distancing that is going to protect you from this disease. My name is Tammy, this is NurseMinder, and we're talking about malaria today. Now, malaria is typically not thought of as being present in large numbers in Canada or the United States. However, just this June 2023, the Center for Disease Control posted that there was a single diagnosed episode of malaria in Florida, and this is not the first time. So don't count yourself out, because the mosquito that transmits malaria does exist in America. So just how do we get infected with malaria? So malaria is something that is transmitted through a mosquito, and specifically the anopheles. I think I'm saying that correctly. And those mosquitoes become infected themselves when they bite an infected human. So here's what's happening when a mosquito bites an infected host being a human. So the mosquito comes along, mosquito bites you. As the mosquito sucks in that blood meal, it also ingests gametocytes. Now, gametocytes are your male and female version of Plasmodium. Plasmodium is the fancy word for a protozoa, which is a parasite that infects humans with malaria. So as again, the mosquito bites you, it ingests these gametocytes, which is, as I said, male and female. Now we can break this down further into micro gametocyte, which is male, and macro gametocyte, which is female. After it ingests this blood meal, the gametocytes travel to the mosquito's stomach, where they will mate. Once they've mated, they become a zygote or a zygote. Tomato, tomato, right? But Z-Y-G-O-T-E. From here, that zygote is going to actually burrow into the midgut wall of the mosquito, and it's going to undergo several transformations. It's called a oocyst, so O-O-C-Y-S-T. It's basically a sac for eggs. And you can see that it's undergoing multiple transformations here, and eventually this cyst is going to get so full it's going to burst. Once it bursts, what it's releasing is what we call sporozoites, which literally means spore animal. So if you think of zygote, Z for zoo, where you go see the animals, then you know that sporozoites is the spore animals that it's going to be birthing into the mosquito. So this bursts, and the sporozoites travel to the saliva, so S for sporozoites matches S for saliva, and now we have a mosquito that is capable of infecting another host, a human, with malaria. So we'll look at that cycle next. All right, so what happens when you are bit by an infected mosquito? Well, as this mosquito bites you, it is also injecting thousands of those sporozoites, spore animals, into your bloodstream. Once injected into you, then they will travel towards the liver and other organs, but the liver is a primary one, where it will then infect the liver cells. And then that same cycle of multiplying inside the liver cell happens, and as they continue to grow and get more and more, they will eventually cause that liver cell to burst, and then they become mature. So here's a clue to help you remember what they're called when they are immature and reproducing inside the liver. Because we've gone from sporozoites, spore animals, they have now traveled to your liver, and they're called schizonts. So just think of still children at heart. So still children at heart. They need to multiply, they need to grow inside these liver cells. And then when they mature, they change their name, they become merozoites, and this is when they burst out of that liver cell, and they will now find their way into the bloodstream, where they can infect and invade your red blood cells. And again, this cycle continues. They get into the red blood cells, they continue to mature and multiply into more merozoites, bursting your red blood cells, releasing more merozoites and gametocytes into the bloodstream. So let's just take a quick review of this. So malaria, you need the mosquito, specifically the anopheles mosquito. And if I'm saying that incorrectly, you got the spelling here. And the game begins when it ingests gametocytes from an infected person. The gametocytes travel to the mosquito's stomach, where it turns into a zygote. That will then burrow into the midgut wall of the stomach to multiply to create sporozoites, spore animals. So game begins at the zoo, spore animals. Gametocytes, zygote, sporozoites. those then travel to the saliva of the mosquito to inject into another human. Now, this is MAL. It will go to the liver. The reason these are in orange is because these do not create a pathophysiological response until it accesses the red blood cells. But as the mosquito bites the new host, this can take 7 to 10 days. It will inject thousands of sporozoites into the body, which will travel to the liver, where they will continue to multiply in another cycle, creating schizonts. Remember, still children at heart, so they are not mature yet to create an impact. When those burst, they then turn into merozoites, mature cells that will access the red blood cells, rupture them, create an inflammatory response, and result in anemia, and could also be life-threatening as a result. So here's your malaria. Mosquito, anopheles, goes to the liver, access red blood cells. Here's where we start to see the physiological changes in the body. Causes a rupture of them, which sets off the inflammatory response and results in anemia. So I get that this is a lot of information, lots of big words, new words, trying to make sense of them. Where do they fit in? So I'm hoping that this video has given you some more insights into the malaria process and how we need to have a vector, which is the mosquito, to transmit it from human to human, which is why no amount of hand hygiene, masking, or social distancing is going to protect you from malaria. So in our future videos, we will be looking at antimalarials, which is why this video is so foundational to understanding what's coming next. So make sure to subscribe, follow, and share this video. Thanks for watching.